Listen, we've been doing some fantastic training with Listing Booster. We're getting more realtors working with loan officers, and we're generating a whole bunch of more leads. Now, you may have had Listing Booster before, but you gotta come look at our new systems. If you wanna get more information on how you could become more successful, click this banner right over there. So the CFPB is going to finalize a rule that'll make it easier for folks to sue lenders. Or should I say more accurately, they're going to finalize a rule that limits forced arbitration. Or even more accurately, they're going to get rid of forced arbitration. So here's what's at stake.
Currently, many financial contracts have language that limit a person's ability to join a class action lawsuit. Instead, a borrower would have to go into arbitration. Now, opponents of this say that lawsuits can be filed frivolously, and by continually suing lenders, it'll only make the cost of future borrowers to go up. They'd be right.
And you know, we're big opponents of being able to sue lenders. But on the flip side, according to CU Insight, arbitration is nearly impossible to unwind in the event the ruling is not fair.
And fair is what's at stake, because in the case of arbitration, banks have entire armies of legal minds to argue their case, whereas your average borrower, who may have been wronged, does not. What this means is, in the case of borrowing others' money with arbitration, the deck can be so stacked against the consumer that it renders arbitration ultimately completely unfair.
And if you think about it, how many borrowers do you have, or do you yourself even know the legal strings that are attached to all the contracts that you sign? Do you? Well, here's what happened to me just yesterday. My phone bill, it came in at $1,000. So after spending an hour down at Sprint, I got it figured out. Here's what happened. When I switched over to my new plan at Sprint, they said, would you like to get the insurance? And I said, probably not. They said, well, it's only, $8 a month. And if you lose your phone or you break it, you pay the deductible and then you get a new phone, no strings attached, right? I said, okay, what's a deductible? They said, well, it really depends. Probably $100 or $125. Turned out to be $200. Anyways, got my new phone, everybody's happy. Then what happens is, because I didn't send an old phone back to them, they charged me over $400 for that phone. Didn't know that string was attached. So the cost of my new phone with insurance with Sprint was actually more expensive than just buying said phone. So is this my responsibility? Yeah, I suppose it is. I'm sure I signed a contract somewhere that said it is my responsibility. I'm sure everyone else at Sprint got the same song and dance, and it's not enough of a hassle for me to make a stink about it. Now, is it misleading on behalf of Sprint? Should they rectify the situation, and should they pay restitution to other people that frankly have a harder time paying the $400 than I do? Now, I'd say probably. So should Sprint be able to push people into individual arbitration, or should they allow for a class action lawsuit? I'm thinking personally, someone should sue Sprint. Now, with regard to my personal story, it's just not going to be me.
Same thing for mortgage loans. Forced arbitration, off the cuff, doesn't seem like a great idea. Yet the group CPR found forced arbitration in 44% of checking accounts, 53% of credit cards, 86% of student loans, and 92% of prepaid cards. And we don't think that people using these services should have to give up their rights to arbitration.
And soon, Sue Sprint, the CFPB is going to sue Sprint, have a rule in place, Sue Sprint, to protect the rights of these Sue Sprint consumers. You know, it's worth Sue Sprint pointing out that we don't just Sue Sprint blast the CFPB. When they do Sue Sprint something right, we acknowledge it. With that said, Sue Sprint, enjoy your Cinco de Mayo.
That was a great closing statement.
Seriously, right before shooting this, I had to spend the first 3 hours at the DMV, and then I got to follow that up directly with Sprint.
Awesome morning.
I know.
But there you go. Again, we say CFPB doing something right on this one, that's for sure.
Yeah.
That's just not fair. It'd be wildly stacked against the consumer in these cases.
I kind of think it is. And by the way, if you disagree with us on this one, the verdict's still out. Yeah, let us know down below. We'd be curious to hear what you have to say.
All right, you guys have a great day. Forward, share, and subscribe in your upper right-hand corner. We'll catch you later here at the National Real Estate Post.
Sprint sucks.
Sue Sprint.
Bye. Sue Sprint.